Have you ever noticed how some people stay completely calm when they're insulted? Someone mocks them, criticizes them, questions their intelligence, or tries to embarrass them in front of others. Yet instead of reacting, they simply smile. Not because they are weak, not because the words didn't hurt, but because they understand something most people never learn. An insult only has power if you accept it. The Stoics believe that no one can truly disturb your peace without your permission, and once you understand this principle, you'll stop giving other people control over your emotions. Today, we'll explore the Stoic way to handle insults and why the strongest response is often the quietest one. Most insults aren't about you. Imagine you're standing in a crowded room. You're talking with friends, enjoying the moment, when someone suddenly makes a sarcastic comment about you. Maybe they laugh at your appearance. Maybe they question your intelligence, or perhaps they make a remark designed to embarrass you in front of everyone else. In that instant, something happens inside your mind. Your heart beats a little faster. Your muscles become tense. Your first instinct is to prove them wrong, to respond immediately, to prove them wrong. Most of us have experienced a moment like this, and because it feels so personal, we naturally assume that the insult is a reflection of who we are. But the Stoics would challenge that assumption. They believed that before reacting to another person's words, you should first ask yourself one simple question: is what they said actually true? At first, this may seem an unusual response. Most people are concerned with defending their pride. The Stoics were more concerned with discovering the truth. If the criticism is accurate, then becoming angry changes nothing. Suppose someone tells you that you're often impatient. Instead of arguing, ask yourself honestly, have there been moments when I've allowed my impatience to control me? If the answer is yes, then you've just been given something valuable. Not an insult, a mirror. Sometimes our greatest opportunities for growth arrive wrapped in uncomfortable words. Wise people understand that criticism, even when delivered poorly, can still contain a useful lesson. But what if the insult isn't true? What if someone calls you lazy, dishonest, or incapable when you know deep down that those words don't describe your character? Then why surrender your peace to something that has no foundation? Imagine someone pointing at the sky and insisting it's green. Would you spend hours arguing with them? Or would you simply recognize that reality remains unchanged regardless of what they believe? The same principle applies to insults. Another person's opinion cannot rewrite your character. It cannot erase your integrity. It cannot reduce your worth, unless you allow it to. This is where many people lose their emotional freedom. They begin measuring themselves through the opinions of others. A compliment makes them feel valuable. An insult makes them question everything. Their confidence rises and falls depending on who is speaking. But a life built on other people's opinions is like a house built on shifting sand. Every criticism shakes it, every disagreement weakens it, every harsh word threatens to bring it down. The Stoics believed your identity should rest on something much stronger: your values, your actions, your character. These are the things you control, and anything outside your control, including another person's opinion, should never be given authority over your inner peace. This doesn't mean insults never hurt. They do. We're human. Words can sting. They can surprise us. Sometimes they stay in our minds longer than we'd like. But there is an important difference between feeling hurt and being controlled by that hurt. Feeling the emotion is natural. Allowing the emotion to dictate your behavior is a choice. That's the distinction the Stoics wanted us to understand. The next time someone insults you, resist the urge to react immediately. Pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is there any truth in these words? If there is, thank life for the opportunity to improve. If there isn't, let the insult pass by like the wind. Because truth does not become false simply because someone insults you, and falsehood does not become true simply because someone says it with confidence. The strongest people aren't the ones who never hear criticism. They're the ones who know how to separate truth from noise. And once you learn that skill, insults begin to lose the power they once had. Number 2. People speak from their own mind. Imagine walking through a city on a rainy afternoon. As you pass by a building, you notice that every window reflects the world a little differently. Some windows are clear, others are covered with dust. Some are tinted so heavily that everything behind them appears darker than it really is. The world outside hasn't changed, only the glass through which it's being viewed. People are much the same. Every person sees the world through the lens of their own experiences, beliefs, fears, and emotions. This is why two people can witness the exact same event and walk away with completely different opinions. One person sees opportunity, another sees danger. One sees kindness, another sees weakness. One sees confidence, another mistakes it for arrogance. The Stoics understood that we rarely respond to reality itself. We respond to our interpretation of reality, and so do the people around us. When someone insults you, criticizes you, or judges you unfairly, it's worth asking yourself another important question. What does this reveal about them? This doesn't mean every criticism is meaningless. As we discussed earlier, some criticism can help us grow. But many insults are not born from truth, they are born from emotion. A person filled with anger often sees enemies where none exist. A jealous person may struggle to celebrate another person's success. Someone carrying deep insecurity may feel the need to diminish others just to feel important. Think about the last time you saw someone lose their temper over something small. Perhaps it wasn't really about that small mistake at all. Perhaps they were already overwhelmed with stress. Perhaps they were carrying worries from home. Perhaps they had spent weeks feeling frustrated and powerless. Their reaction was simply the point where all those hidden emotions overflowed. The same thing often happens with insults. People don't always speak from wisdom. Sometimes they speak from pain. Imagine a man carrying a bucket filled to the very top with muddy water. As long as nothing touches him, the water remains inside. But the moment someone bumps him, the water spills everywhere. Was it the person who bumped him that created the muddy water? No. The water was already there. The collision merely revealed what he had been carrying all along. Human emotions work in much the same way. An insult often tells you more about what another person is carrying inside than it tells you about who you are. This is why the Stoics encouraged emotional distance, not because they lacked compassion, but because they understood that another person's emotional storm does not have to become your own. Imagine standing on the shore during a violent storm. The waves crash against the rocks, the wind howls, the sea becomes wild and unpredictable. Yet beneath the surface, deep below the crashing waves, the ocean remains calm. Your mind can become like that. You cannot always stop other people's anger. You cannot stop jealousy. You cannot stop gossip or unfair criticism, but you can decide whether those things remain on the surface or whether you allow them to disturb the deeper part of who you are. This doesn't happen overnight. It requires practice. Each time someone misunderstands you, pause. Each time someone judges you unfairly, pause. Each time someone tries to provoke you, pause. That brief moment of silence gives wisdom a chance to speak before emotion takes control. And over time, you'll begin to notice something remarkable. The words that once ruined your entire day begin to lose their weight. Not because people have stopped criticizing you, but because you've stopped allowing their opinions to become your identity. The Stoics believed that true freedom begins the moment you realize this. You cannot control what other people choose to say, but you can always choose what you allow to stay in your mind. And that choice may be one of the greatest forms of strength a person can ever develop. Number 3. Your reaction is the real test. Imagine you're walking through a quiet forest on a peaceful morning. The air is cool, birds sing in the distance. The trees stand tall, unaffected by the wind that gently moves through their branches. Then suddenly, a powerful storm begins. Dark clouds gather overhead. The wind grows stronger. Rain starts to fall. Some trees bend violently. Small branches snap and scatter across the ground. But the oldest trees remain standing, not because they never faced storms, but because their roots had grown deep long before the storm arrived. The human mind is no different. Most people believe strength is measured by what happens around them. The Stoics believed true strength is revealed by what happens within them. Anyone can remain calm when life is easy. Anyone can smile when they receive praise. Anyone can be kind when everyone agrees with them. But what happens when someone insults you? What happens when you're misunderstood? When your character is questioned? When someone speaks to you with disrespect? That is where your real character is tested. It is easy to believe that another person made you angry. We hear people say it all the time. He made me lose my temper. She made me feel worthless. They ruined my day. But did they? Or did they simply create a situation that revealed how much control you had over your own emotions? The Stoics believed there is a small space between what happens to us and how we respond to it. That space may only last a second, but within that second lies one of the greatest powers we possess, the power to choose. Imagine someone throws a stone into a calm lake. The surface ripples, but after a while, the water becomes still again. Now imagine throwing that same stone into a shallow puddle. Mud splashes everywhere. The difference wasn't the stone, it was the depth of the water. In the same way, the words people throw at you are often less important than the depth of your character. A person who has learned patience does not react to every insult. A person who has learned self-control does not feel the need to win every argument. And a person who knows their own worth does not spend their life trying to convince strangers of it. This doesn't mean you should ignore injustice or remain silent when someone crosses an important boundary. Stoicism is not about becoming passive, it is about becoming intentional. There are moments when you should speak, moments when you should defend yourself, moments when you should walk away. Wisdom lies in knowing which response serves your values, not your ego. Think about a skilled captain steering a ship across the ocean. He cannot control the wind. He cannot stop the waves. He cannot prevent storms from appearing. But he can control how he holds the wheel. He adjusts the sails. He stays focused. He refuses to panic. That is why he reaches his destination while others lose their way. Life is much the same. You cannot control every opinion people have about you. You cannot stop criticism. You cannot silence every insult. But you can learn to steer your own mind. Each insult becomes an opportunity to practice patience. Each disagreement becomes an opportunity to strengthen self-control. Each moment of disrespect becomes another chance to choose wisdom over impulse. And with every choice, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop living as a prisoner of other people's emotions. Their anger no longer becomes your anger. Their bitterness no longer becomes your bitterness. Their lack of self-control no longer determines yours. Instead of reacting to every spark, you become like a mountain. The wind may howl, the rain may fall, the seasons may change, yet the mountain remains exactly where it stands. Not because life became easier, but because it became stronger. The Stoics believed that true freedom is not found in controlling the world around you. It is found in mastering the world within you. And perhaps that is the greatest victory anyone can achieve. Because when you learn to govern your own mind, no insult has the power to govern it for you. Number 5. Silence is often the strongest answer. Have you ever noticed how some people become frustrated when you refuse to argue? They expect a reaction. They expect anger. They expect you to defend yourself. And when you don't, they become even more uncomfortable. Why? Because many arguments survive only when both people keep feeding them. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Not every insult deserves a response. Sometimes silence says more than words ever could. Think about a fire. Every argument is like a flame. Each angry response adds more fuel. But what happens when you stop feeding it? Eventually, the fire burns itself out. Silence is not surrender. It is self-control. It is the ability to decide that your peace is worth more than proving a point. That doesn't mean you should never speak. There are moments when standing up for yourself is necessary. But wisdom is knowing the difference between defending your dignity and defending your ego. Number 6. Your self-worth shouldn't depend on other people's opinions. Imagine building a house on shifting sand. Every time the wind blows, the foundation moves. Now imagine building that same house on solid rock. The storms still come, but the foundation remains. Your confidence works the same way. If your self-worth depends on other people's praise, then it will also collapse under their criticism. One compliment makes you feel valuable. One insult makes you question yourself. That's a fragile way to live. The Stoics believed your value comes from your character, not from applause, not from popularity, and certainly not from the opinions of strangers. When you understand who you are, insults lose much of their power because they no longer determine your identity. Number 7. Turn criticism into a teacher. Not every critic is your enemy. Sometimes the people who challenge you help you grow the most. Imagine receiving the same criticism from 3 different people. Would you ignore it completely? Or would you stop and ask, is there something I can learn here? Wisdom doesn't reject feedback simply because it hurts. It examines it, keeps what is useful, and lets go of the rest. This is one of the greatest Stoic habits, learning from everything, even unpleasant experiences, even difficult people, even insults. Because every experience gives you a choice: become bitter or become wiser. Growth often begins where comfort ends. New ending. Finish with a slower, more reflective conclusion. Life will always contain criticism. Some of it will be fair, some of it will be unfair. Some people will misunderstand you. Others will judge you without knowing your story. You cannot control that, but you can control your response. Every insult gives you a choice: to react or to remain steady, to seek revenge or to seek wisdom, to let another person's words shape your emotions or to let your values guide your actions. The Stoics believed that true strength isn't found in having the loudest voice or the sharpest comeback. It's found in mastering yourself. So the next time someone insults you, pause, smile if you can, and remember this: no one can take your peace unless you hand it to them. If this lesson helped you see insults from a different perspective, consider subscribing for more videos on Stoicism, psychology, and personal growth. Until next time, protect your mind, guard your peace, and become the kind of person that no insult can control. Number 6. Turn criticism into a teacher. Imagine walking through a beautiful garden early in the morning. The air is fresh, the flowers are in full bloom, everything appears peaceful. As you continue walking, you notice an experienced gardener carefully trimming a healthy tree. At first, it seems strange. Why would someone cut the branches of a tree that is already growing well? Then you realize something important. The gardener isn't trying to damage the tree, he's helping it grow stronger. Sometimes, growth requires removing what no longer serves us. Criticism can work the same way. Most people hear criticism and immediately build a wall around themselves. They become defensive, they interrupt, they search for reasons why the other person is wrong. Their first instinct is not to understand, it is to protect their pride. The Stoics chose a different path. They believed that every criticism should be examined carefully before it is accepted or rejected. Not every criticism is true, but not every criticism is false either. Wisdom begins with the willingness to ask an uncomfortable question. Is there something I can learn from this? That question requires humility, and humility is one of the rarest qualities in today's world. Imagine looking into a mirror. The mirror reflects exactly what stands before it. It doesn't flatter you, it doesn't insult you, it simply tells the truth. Sometimes criticism becomes a mirror, not because the person speaking intended to help you, but because truth has a way of revealing itself even through imperfect people. Think about some of the greatest athletes, musicians, and leaders in history. None of them became exceptional by surrounding themselves only with praise. They welcomed correction. They studied their mistakes. They accepted that improvement begins the moment we stop pretending to be perfect. The Stoics understood something many people forget. Your ego wants comfort. Your character wants growth. Those two desires often pull in opposite directions. Comfort whispers, ignore anyone who disagrees with you. Growth quietly asks, what if they're seeing something I haven't noticed? That doesn't mean every opinion deserves equal weight. A stranger who knows nothing about your life should not have the same influence as someone who has consistently demonstrated wisdom and honesty. Learning whose advice deserves your attention is part of becoming emotionally mature. Imagine you're sailing across the ocean. A passerby standing on the shore shouts random directions. Would you abandon your map and follow them? Probably not. But if an experienced captain points toward dangerous rocks ahead, you would be wise to listen. Not every voice deserves authority, but the right voice can change your direction completely. This is why discernment is so important. The Stoics never encouraged blind acceptance, they encouraged thoughtful examination. Listen, reflect, separate emotion from evidence, keep what is useful, release what is not. There is another lesson hidden inside criticism. Sometimes it teaches us patience, sometimes it teaches us humility, sometimes it reminds us that we still have room to grow. And sometimes it teaches us nothing except how to remain calm in the face of unfair judgment. Even that is valuable, because every difficult encounter becomes another opportunity to strengthen your character. Think about blacksmiths forging steel. The metal is placed into intense heat, then struck again and again with a heavy hammer. To someone watching from a distance, it might appear destructive. But the blacksmith understands something different. The heat does not weaken the steel, it prepares it. The hammer does not ruin it, it shapes it. Life often works in the same way. Criticism can become the fire, challenges become the hammer, and your response determines whether you leave the experience weaker or stronger. The Stoics believed that every obstacle carries within it the possibility of growth. That doesn't mean every painful moment is enjoyable. It means every painful moment contains a choice. You can allow criticism to harden your heart, or you can allow it to sharpen your wisdom. One path leads to bitterness, the other leads to maturity. So the next time someone criticizes you, resist the urge to react immediately. Instead, ask yourself 3 simple questions. Is it true? Can it help me grow? If not, can I let it go without losing my peace? Those 3 questions have the power to transform criticism from something you fear into something that quietly helps shape the person you're becoming. Because the wisest people are not the ones who never receive criticism. They are the ones who know how to turn it into a teacher. Number 7. Protect your inner peace. Imagine waking up every morning carrying a beautiful glass jar filled with crystal clear water. The water represents your peace. At the beginning of the day, it is calm, still, untouched. Now imagine that throughout the day, different people approach you. One criticizes your work, another speaks harshly to you in traffic. A stranger leaves an insulting comment online. Someone misunderstands your intentions. A friend forgets to appreciate your efforts. Every encounter is like someone reaching into that jar and shaking it. If you allow every opinion, every insult, every disappointment to disturb your mind, the water becomes cloudy. Soon you can no longer see clearly. Your decisions become emotional instead of thoughtful. Your words become reactions instead of responses. And before long, you've given complete strangers the power to decide how you feel. The Stoics believed this was one of the greatest mistakes a person could make, because peace is one of the few treasures that cannot be replaced once it is carelessly given away. Think about how much time people spend protecting things they own. They lock their doors before leaving home. They protect their phones with passwords. They insure their cars. They place valuable possessions in safes. Yet many people leave the door to their mind completely unguarded. Anyone can walk in. A careless opinion, a cruel remark, a moment of rejection, a negative comment from someone they've never met. Without realizing it, they hand over control of their emotional life to people who have done nothing to earn that privilege. The Stoics challenged us to ask a different question. Who deserves access to your peace? Not everyone who speaks to you deserves the power to influence your emotional state. Not every opinion deserves a permanent place in your mind. Not every disagreement deserves hours of your attention. Wisdom begins when you become selective about what you allow to remain within you. Imagine living beside a peaceful lake. Every morning, the surface reflects the mountains, the trees, and the sky with perfect clarity. Now imagine throwing stones into the lake every few minutes. Eventually, the water never becomes still. The reflection disappears. This is exactly what happens when we constantly replay insults. We revisit conversations that ended days ago. We imagine arguments that never happened. We create responses we wish we had given. Meanwhile, life quietly continues moving forward while our minds remain trapped in the past. The Stoics believed the present moment is where life is actually lived. Not yesterday's argument, not tomorrow's worry. This moment, right here, right now. Every minute you spend carrying unnecessary resentment is a minute you can never recover. Every hour spent trying to convince people to understand you is an hour taken away from becoming the person you were meant to be. There is a quiet freedom in accepting something many people spend their entire lives resisting. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will appreciate you. Not everyone will like you. And that's perfectly all right. Your purpose is not to earn the approval of every person you meet. Your purpose is to live according to your values, to become a person of integrity, kindness, courage, patience. Because at the end of your life, your peace will never be measured by how many arguments you won. It will be measured by how faithfully you lived according to your principles. Think about the strongest people you've ever met. Were they constantly trying to prove themselves? Did they react to every criticism? Did they feel the need to answer every insult? Probably not. The strongest people often possess something far more valuable than clever words. They possess quiet confidence, the kind of confidence that doesn't depend on applause, the kind that doesn't disappear when someone disagrees with them, the kind that remains steady because it is built on character rather than public opinion. That is the kind of strength the Stoics spent their lives developing. Not physical strength, not the strength to dominate others, but the strength to govern themselves. Because they understood one timeless truth. A person who controls your emotions controls part of your life, but a person who has learned to master their own mind cannot easily be controlled by anyone. So the next time someone insults you, pause before you react. Take a slow breath. Remember everything you've learned today. Ask yourself, is this worth trading my peace for? Most of the time, the answer will be no. Because your peace is more valuable than your pride, more valuable than winning an argument, more valuable than proving a stranger wrong. Guard it carefully, protect it daily, and never forget. The greatest victory is not defeating another person. It is becoming the kind of person that insults can no longer defeat.
Number 8. Silence is often the strongest answer. Have you ever noticed how some people become frustrated when you refuse to argue? They expect a reaction. They expect anger. They expect you to defend yourself, and when you don't, they become even more uncomfortable. Why? Because many arguments survive only when both people keep feeding them. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Not every insult deserves a response. Sometimes silence says more than words ever could. Think about a fire. Every argument is like a flame. Each angry response adds more fuel. But what happens when you stop feeding it? Eventually, the fire burns itself out. Silence is not surrender. It is self-control. It is the ability to decide that your peace is worth more than proving a point. That doesn't mean you should never speak. There are moments when standing up for yourself is necessary. But wisdom is knowing the difference between defending your dignity and defending your ego. Number 9. Your self-worth shouldn't depend on other people's opinions. Imagine building a house on shifting sand. Every time the wind blows, the foundation moves. Now imagine building that same house on solid rock. The storms still come, but the foundation remains. Your confidence works the same way. If your self-worth depends on other people's praise, then it will also collapse under their criticism. One compliment makes you feel valuable. One insult makes you question yourself. That's a fragile way to live. The Stoics believed your value comes from your character, not from applause, not from popularity, and certainly not from the opinions of strangers. When you understand who you are, insults lose much of their power because they no longer determine your identity. Number 10. Turn criticism into a teacher. Not every critic is your enemy. Sometimes, the people who challenge you help you grow the most. Imagine receiving the same criticism from 3 different people. Would you ignore it completely? Or would you stop and ask, is there something I can learn here? Wisdom doesn't reject feedback simply because it hurts. It examines it, keeps what is useful, and lets go of the rest. This is one of the greatest Stoic habits, learning from everything, even unpleasant experiences, even difficult people, even insults. Because every experience gives you a choice to become bitter or to become wiser. Growth often begins where comfort ends. Life will always contain criticism. Some of it will be fair. Some of it will be unfair. Some people will misunderstand you. Others will judge you without knowing your story. You cannot control that, but you can control your response. Every insult gives you a choice: to react or to remain steady, to seek revenge or to seek wisdom, to let another person's words shape your emotions or to let your values guide your actions. The Stoics believed that true strength isn't found in having the loudest voice or the sharpest comeback. It's found in mastering yourself. So the next time someone insults you, pause, smile if you can, and remember this: no one can take your peace unless you hand it to them. If this lesson helped you see insults from a different perspective, consider subscribing for more videos on Stoicism, psychology, and personal growth. Until next time, protect your mind, guard your peace, and become the kind of person that no insult can control.